This lady has Nigerian roots, and when she came home to Nigeria with her family to trace their roots, she was kidnapped in Lagos State, Lekki market to be precise. And for this girl to be rescued, he had to take the US embassy intervening, and guess what? It was for human organ trafficking. So she was kidnapped right in the market, put in a warehouse right there in the market with other girls, local Nigerian girls. And the news did not let us know this, so that people who have their missing loved ones will at least know that, oh, something like this is going on. And this is how it happened for her. She was with her family in the market, buying, eating, tasting, and finally she stepped aside to go check a bid. You know how you're in the market shopping and somebody comes and says, oh, come, I have better offer there. And this was where she found herself. At the end of the day, there were other girls there, and most of them were even unconscious. I will let you hear her story by yourself. It is terrible, but please don't forget to subscribe. I'm a teacher trying to grow this channel here, so please show me some love. So imagine that you left the United States of America to travel all the way to your roots just to get familiar, and while you were standing in the market checking this bid, a man comes and says, oh, that's fake, come to my shop, I have better offer. So we should be careful, Nigerians, please don't just follow people carelessly into their shops. And the shop had this narrow hallway. She kept following, being a stranger. She didn't understand it until she had entered the inner room, and then she noticed the door locked behind her. That was when she realized there were other people there. She was made to go unconscious, but then she realized there were other girls there with her. She wasn't the only one there, but one good thing this girl did was she kept pretending to be unconscious. This is the real warehouse, more like a cold room right inside Lekki market, as she will tell her story. You see, other girls were there, and then it didn't just stop there. Some men who were more like medical personnel or quack medical personnel would come in, check the girls, more like examine them, and then they will afterwards say, oh, she's healthy. For the first girl, they said the girl was healthy, and then they picked her, took her away. So it was more like an organ harvesting kind of thing. I don't know, it seemed like I'm telling this girl's story too much. Let's allow you hear her story by herself so that you can realize that this evil act of kidnapping is happening right amongst us, under our nose, and it is so unsuspecting. A young girl leaves home and then she gets missing. A young boy leaves home and they are nowhere to be found. And for such people, nobody calls for ransom. Nobody is holding them hostage and calling the family. Nigerians should start looking inwards. Imagine right inside the market, the warehouse was right inside them. We thank God for those families.
When I was 14, a family trip to Lagos to reconnect with my Nigerian heritage turned into a nightmare. And before I knew it, I was zip-tied in a warehouse, waiting in line to have a scalpel pressed against my skin. My name is Naomi Jones, and this is the story of the time I nearly lost my life on a family trip to Nigeria. So, you know how a few years ago, everyone on social media suddenly was doing that returning to the motherland thing? Well, my mom also got in on the hype for a bit. She took, one of those DNA tests and found out about her Yoruba roots. And then for the next couple of months, she kept saving up money for a trip to Nigeria so we could learn more about our heritage. It was honestly a big investment, but my dad was supportive about the whole thing, so we went with it. When we finally arrived, the first 2 days were actually really amazing. It was extremely hot, but the food and culture wasn't anything like what I'd seen growing up. But all of that excitement ended on our third day. We went to this place, I think it was called Lekki Market. It was a lot. There was noise everywhere. People talking over each other, haggling, arguing. It was overwhelming in a way I just wasn't used to. I was checking out some waist beads at a stall when I noticed this man in the distance just kind of looking at me. And he calls me over in this perfect American English accent. People in Lagos speak English, but his accent was it was familiar, I guess. And he told me the beads I was looking at were just trashy tourist stuff, and that he had the good ones in his shop. Told me to follow him if I wanted to take a look. I didn't know the kind of evils that the world could have, so I was like, okay, sure. I should have just said no. Or asked my parents, but they were busy over by the other stall, and I I just figured it'd be a second. I wasn't going far. So I followed him. The inside of his store was pretty dark, and I walked down this narrow corridor into a back room. And I remember feeling something was off, so I'm about to turn back. But before I could, I heard this large door behind me close. And immediately afterward, there's this hand that comes out of the dark and wraps a rag over my face. I start panicking and I'm struggling, but it was chloroform. I see these faces in the dark for like a second, and then it's just nothing. So the next thing I remember is this like cold room. I couldn't move. My hands were tied behind my back, and I remember I was freezing. I think that feeling kind of immediately snapped something in me because I knew it was scorching out. So like my mind instantly thought, okay, where am I? It was dark in there, but I could kind of see that it was like this warehouse that had kind of been turned into like a cold storage almost. And what really freaked me out was that I wasn't alone. There were at least 3 other girls in there with me, unconscious. They were also tied up, and they looked local. Like they were also Nigerian, probably. By this point, I'm still feeling dizzy, and like I don't even have the energy to scream or shout. And even though I'm in this panic mode, I didn't want to attract attention. Then, after a while, the door to that room opened, and 2 men came. They had these sketchy coats on, and one of them had a clipboard. I tried to peek through my eyes, but was still just pretending to be unconscious, because I was worried what they'd do to me if they saw I woke up. They went up to one of the other girls, like they were examining her. One of the men says something like, healthy, good value, you know, like this girl was some car in good condition. They then pick her up while she's still unconscious and take her out. I knew whatever was going to happen to her wasn't going to be good, and that sooner or later they'll come towards me to do the same thing. I grew up hearing stories about this kind of stuff, organ trafficking, black market surgeries, but never did I think I'd ever have to see it with my own eyes. The only thing giving me hope in that dark, cold warehouse was this belief that my dad would be out looking for me. And he was. My parents noticed I was gone within like 10 minutes. At first they thought I just wandered off, but when my phone went straight to voicemail, my dad switched up entirely. He started asking around, going to different shops and vendors there. They all said they had no idea. They hadn't seen me. So he had no choice but to go directly to the police. He didn't want to waste any more time. But here's the thing. A random missing girl in Lagos is not always treated as urgent. The officers there are overworked, underpaid, but the second my dad put his US passport on that desk and made it clear that an American citizen was missing, the room changed. Because now it's not just a local case, it's a diplomatic situation. My dad got the US embassy on the phone. He called every contact he had, and the embassy came down on the Nigerian authorities in a way they couldn't brush off. Within just a few hours, the cops were at the Lekki market looking at potential suspects, asking any shops. They pulled what footage they could from nearby cameras. They thought most of it was going to be useless, but one angle wasn't. Just for a moment, this one camera captured me walking past a crowded section of the market. But there was no clear shot of the shop, and no clear view of the man, but it was enough to narrow things down. With the cops involved, the same shopkeepers who told my dad they hadn't seen me suddenly started talking too. And one of them recognized the area from the footage. He didn't know everything, but he said there was a man who worked in that area sometimes. That gave them a name. And once they had that, things started moving faster. They tracked the man down, and they were not gentle about it. Within a few hours, I don't know exactly what they did, but he gave them the warehouse location. I remember lying there, drifting in and out from consciousness. But then I heard shouting coming from outside the room we were in. There was an army of police officers coming in, trying to identify me. There were other girls in there too, but it was almost like they walked past them to get to me. They did eventually get all of us out of there, but Yeah, I wonder how many girls don't get saved because they don't have the right colored passport. The flight back to Atlanta was just a blur. My parents wanted to get back home ASAP. The embassy handled everything, had us on private transport, and I just sat there the whole flight. I don't even know what was going through my head at the time. I was just blank. I think I was still in shock. That was years ago. I'm 25 now, and I want to be honest with you. I'm not healed. Like, there are days when I wake up and feel like I'm suddenly back in that place. The man from the shop is in a Nigerian prison, and those men from the warehouse probably they're gone. I don't know. But that whole operation is probably still there, just with some other men now doing the dirty work. I see the missing persons reports, I see the news. I know there's another warehouse somewhere with another girl lying in the cold with her hands tied. I went to Nigeria to find out who I was, to find something real, something that connected me to my history. And what I found is that there are people in this world who will look at you and see nothing but a valuable asset they can steal and sell.
Thank you for watching thus far. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Like I said, I'm a teacher trying to grow a YouTube channel. I'm new here and I need all the love I can get. Thank you to my old subscriber. I love you. And to you, thank you because I know you will subscribe. See you soon with a better story. Bye-bye.